Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm and you are watching 7th part of What If Naruto Became Wielder of Universal Weapon. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Naruto, Jiraiya, and Shizune had finally arrived at the location where Tsunade was supposed to meet Orochimaru, but they were met with an unusual sight. A large crater was in the center, and a large portion of the wall was broken. "What do you think happened here, pervy sage?" Naruto asked, looking around the demolished area. "Tsunade has always had a bad temper, and from what we've seen around here, Orochimaru must have done something to irritate her," Jiraiya said.
That means she turned down the offer he made her, Shizune speculated.
"That may be so, but we need to find her quickly," Naruto said as he walked around a bit before noticing something fluttering on a wall. He took a closer look and saw that it was a green vest with the kanji "Gamble" written on it. "Hey guys, I found her jacket," Naruto said as he walked around a bit more before seeing something fluttering on a wall. "We could track her by following the scent from the jacket. Taunton, could you show us the way?" Shizune asked. The pig oinked in agreement and began sniffing the jacket before taking off. "Let's go." Naruto chased after Taunton, Jiraiya and Shizune close behind. Meanwhile, in a grassy plain with boulders strewn about, many craters can be seen, and a large explosion can be heard as we turn to see Tsunade standing in a crater, glaring evilly at Orochimaru and Kabuto. "Is this your final decision, Tsunade? This could be your only chance to see them again. All you have to do is heal my arms to make that happen," Orochimaru said. "I really want to meet them just one more time from the bottom of my heart. If it had been a week ago, I would have accepted it. But I've met someone who reminded me of them. They were so much alike, and it was because of him that I remembered something that I was too blind with grief to see. They cared about the village and wanted to protect it, a village that you tried to destroy, and I'll be damned if you try to do it again because it will. I guess I'll have to do it the hard way," Orochimaru said. "You're not the one who's been fighting her, Orochimaru-sama. Even though taijutsu isn't one of my strong points, that doesn't mean I'm weak," Kabuto said, reaching into his pouch and pulling out a small brown pill, which he ate. That was a food pill. What does he intend to do? Tsunade wondered, her eyes widening in surprise as she saw him perform a series of hand signs she recognized. For him to perform those hand signs, it must mean that he also knows medical ninjutsu, she reasoned. As Kabuto charged forward to attack Tsunade, his hands were coated in blue chakra. She parried the attacks, making sure those hands didn't touch any part of her body at all costs. She launched a haymaker punch, causing Kabuto to backpedal as the punch created a crater on the ground, followed by a jump kick, which was again avoided. Tsunade flipped off a nearby boulder and was about to return with a flip kick when Kabuto vanished from view, much to her surprise. Where did he go? Tsunade was about to land when she felt something hit her right arm and leg. She saw Kabuto next to her perform a shoulder barge to knock him away, but then she noticed her arm and leg were numb. "I can't move them so well," she said. "I weaken those parts of your body so you can't unleash your full strength," Kabuto explained. "You're using a chakra scalpel, but why didn't you go for the kill by severing an artery or puncturing my heart?" Tsunade wondered as she tried to regain feeling in her arm and leg. "True, but in order to do so, I would need to be very accurate and wield a long blade, both of which are difficult to achieve in the heat of battle, but it doesn't matter at the moment." Kabuto charged at her and attacked her again. Tsunade got back to her feet and parried them, but her arm and leg are making it very difficult to keep up with him. She went in for a low kick, but Kabuto flipped over it and slammed a palm in her chest, causing her to stumble back as she realized she was having trouble breathing. "I can't have you dying just yet, so I doubt you'll be able to do anything in your current state." At that moment, Kabuto sensed movement to his left but was too slow to react as he felt a hard chop to the neck, sending him tumbling along the ground, while Orochimaru stood at a safe distance, frowning. Kabuto, you fool, you underestimated her. She wasn't a Sannin member for nothing, and you wouldn't have been able to immobilize her, Orochimaru thought. Kabuto knelt and stared at Tsunade, who was gasping for air. I was too arrogant to think I had her, I better take this seriously. He was about to stand up when he realized something was wrong with his body. Instead of his legs moving, his shoulders do. What's going on? Why isn't my body moving the way I wanted it to? Could it be? It appears you have finally noticed. I converted my chakra into electricity and sent it directly into your nervous system, completely messing with your body's coordination. Tsunade went a few hand signs and green aura covered her hand, which she placed on her chest. I don't have enough chakra for my healing jutsu, but I have to manage with what I can. Kabuto suddenly got up to his feet and dashed towards her with a kunai drawn, much to her surprise. You thought you had me for second, but it was all for naught. Let's see how much you'd have when you see blood. Soon, Kabuto was in front of her, the kunai raised above his head and about to be brought down. Dark kick. A blur of yellow and green appeared between them and sent Kabuto flying back, but he quickly recovered to his feet. Standing between them was Naruto Uzumaki, who had his foot in the air, lowering it and smirking. Sorry if I'm late for the party, but we had to stop for directions, Naruto said, then turned to see Orochimaru glaring at him with hatred. Hey Snakey, how has life been without your arms? I bet someone had to spoon-feed you or worse, relieve you of your stress every night. You know, I was wondering the same thing ever since he ran away with his reptilian tail in between his legs. Jiraiya landed next to him with a smirk, followed closely by Shizune and Taunton. You pesky brat. I'm going to make you pay for what you did to my arms and ruined my plans. Orochimaru screamed angrily. Sounds like an outstanding debt, can you accept IOUs? Naruto turned to face Kabuto. Fancy seeing you here, Kabuto, though I shouldn't be surprised, Naruto said. Did you meet this kid before Naruto? Jiraiya inquired. Yeah, we met during the Chunin exams, and he said it was his 7th attempt, but he quit after the 2nd stage, which really piqued my suspicion that he had an unknown motive. And you were correct, he was working as a spy for Orochimaru. Which also means he was a part of the invasion, Kurama frowned. Tsunade brushed past them and charged at Kabuto, get out of the way. I can handle them myself. He tried to attack with his kunai, but she kicked it off his hands and continued to attack him. I know you haven't fully recovered yet, so I'll just have to finish you off before you do. She kept laying on the pressure as Kabuto continued to backpedal until his back hit the side of a boulder, giving him no chance of escape. Now to put an end to this. Tsunade raised her hand, about to punch Kabuto, when he whipped out his hand and splashed something on her face. She reached out to wipe it off and looked at what was on her, only to begin shaking in terror as she saw what was in front of her. Blood. I knew I couldn't take you down, but now that you've exposed your weakness, I can. Kabuto reared a fist back and launched it at Tsunade, but Naruto appeared in between them again and parried the punch before slamming an open palm in his torso, sending Kabuto back. As Shizune arrived at his side, he heard Tsunade fall to her knees and quickly moved in to check on her. Will she be okay? Shizune draped Tsunade's jacket over her shoulders before removing a cloth to wipe the blood away. She'll be fine, though I've never seen her like this. She really shouldn't have to do things on her own. After all, that's why I'm here to help her, Shizune said. Then do just that while I deal with Kabuto, Naruto said as he stood up to face Kabuto. Alright, but be careful, he's a strong man. You should listen to her, Naruto. Unlike your previous opponents, I am much stronger than them, and you have no chance against me, Kabuto boasted. Dude, you're insulting a few of my opponents who are much stronger than you by saying that. If that's what you think, allow me to showboat a little. Naruto dashed at Kabuto as he crossed the middle and index fingers of each hand, Shadow Clone Jutsu. Several clones appeared by his side as they approached their target. "Come. Show us your strength," exclaimed Kabuto as he took a stance. "With pleasure," exclaimed the clones all at once. The first clone got close enough to launch a straight punch as Kabuto sidestepped and kneed him in the gut. Another came in from the right with a palm thrust that was parried, but he followed up with a jab. Kabuto caught the fist and tried to throw him, but the clone anchored himself to the ground with chakra as another clone came in from the left. Kabuto whipped out his free hand, splattering blood in his eyes, and quickly threw a kunai at it, but the clone had switched to using his other senses the moment he lost his eyesight and heard the kunai whizzing towards him, quickly rolling on the ground to evade before performing a handspring kick, launching Kabuto into the air. Bicycle kicks. The original Naruto jumped after him, rapidly pedaling his feet to inflict a lot of hits on Kabuto's chest, flying kick. Before switching to a powerful flying front kick, sending him tumbling away from him as he landed on the ground with a smirk on his face. "Your cockiness had earned you nothing but a kick to the face, Kabuto. You better step things up a bit." "I guess that means I'll have to get serious about this then," Kabuto said, reaching into his pouch and pulling out a dark red pill. "I know that pill. It helps the consumer replenish lost blood," Shizune explained. "That means he's a medical ninja," Jiraiya explained. "I think it's time we got down to business. Naruto, you take on Kabuto while I talk to my old friend Orochimaru, and Shizune will guard Tsunade." "All over it, pervy sage, let's get this party started." Naruto shook his fists. As Kabuto swiped his blood over the seal and began going through a series of hand signs, Orochimaru undid one of the bandages to reveal his rotten hand. Jiraiya caught on and bit his thumb before going through the same hand signs as they both slammed their hands on the ground and called out at the same time. Jutsu summoning. There was a large cloud of smoke and a seal matrix appeared on the ground. The smoke cleared to reveal Kabuto and Orochimaru standing on a pair of giant snakes. On Jiraiya's side, however, is a small toad that Naruto is familiar with. "What's going on, Naruto?" the toad inquired. "Actually, Gamakichi, pervy sage was attempting to summon your father, but it appears that his chakra control is still faulty," Naruto explained as Jiraiya smacked his forehead in frustration. "The drug Tsunade-sama created will take a while for the effects to wear off, so you'll have to make do with what you have," Shizune explained. "I guess I'll have to fight him as I am," Jiraiya said. Beginning music. Naruto Shippuden the movie OST. Water above cut. "Shall we begin?" Orochimaru said as the snakes lunged at them. "Incoming." They yelled as the snakes smashed the ground, sending rocks flying and creating a large cloud of dust. Naruto and Jiraiya were using the flying rocks as stepping stones when he noticed Kabuto approaching Shizune, who was carrying Tsunade. "Shizune, watch out," he said, but she was too slow to react as Kabuto delivered a powerful punch, sending them crashing to the ground. "Naruto, look behind you," Jiraiya exclaimed. "Sorry, but Naruto Uzumaki is not on the menu." He created a shadow clone which grabbed on and threw him away from the jaws. "Here's a much better recipe, it's called Bomb Flamba copyright." He threw a pair of kunai wrapped in explosive tags into the open jaws, and there was an explosion which destroyed its guts. "Maybe I should have given up." Earth style. Dark swamp. A large quagmire formed on the ground around the snakes and slowed sank them inside, but only enough to keep them immobilized. "My chakra control is really messing things up, but at least they're immobilized," Jiraiya said as he landed on one of the snakes and turned to face Orochimaru. "Get ready, old friend," Orochimaru said as he charged at Jiraiya, who had also charged in. Naruto had landed on solid ground and was looking around for Kabuto when he noticed Kabuto fighting Shizune, who was using a Senbon launcher to keep him at bay. He evaded the barrage and slammed a chakra-coated palm into her chest as she flew back. Ninja art. Poison fog," she exclaimed, releasing a purple gas from her mouth that covered Kabuto. That should do it, she thought, but then she felt something grab her legs and looked down to see two chakra-coated hands holding her legs before falling to the ground and being unable to move her feet as Kabuto burst out of the ground. "You should have kept your guard up," Kabuto taunted, then jumped back to avoid a punch that formed a crater on the ground, revealing Naruto in a Shaolin fist stance. "Now to truly show you how beneath me you are," Naruto said. "Given how I knocked you down twice, you'll have to forgive my skepticism," Naruto said, his hands covered in chakra once more. "Be careful, Naruto-sama, that technique appears to function like a scalpel from what we've seen," Shinami warned. "Got it. Avoid at all costs," Naruto said as he assumed the praying mantis stance as Kabuto dashed towards him and began to parry his fists and strike back with jabs. When Kabuto delivered a double punch, Naruto quickly stepped forward, deflecting the first with a forearm and blocking the second with a bent elbow before straightening it to slam into Kabuto's face, causing him to stumble backwards, and without missing a beat, Naruto bent his body forward and slammed a double mantis punch into his chest. "You little brat." Kabuto yelled angrily at Naruto, launching an even more ferocious attack. Naruto continued to deflect attacks and respond with counterattacks to inflict damage. Naruto bent his upper body backwards and formed his hand into a claw before grabbing Kabuto's hand. Kabuto used the other hand and was met with the same method. Naruto twisted Kabuto's hands, causing him to cry out in pain, before rearing his feet back and driving it up his chin, sending him flying back and using the momentum to flip backwards. "How could you be so strong? I never saw anything like this in the records," said Kabuto as he struggled to his feet. "Deception is a ninja's greatest tool. Don't think you're the only one who can pull the wool over the eyes of others. After all, it's why I'm standing here and you're struggling down there," Naruto said, surprised to see Kabuto healing quickly. "He has a heal factor like you," Kurama, who was equally surprised, said. "Orochimaru-sama values me not only for my medical skills and knowledge, but also for my recuperative abilities," Kabuto boasted. "Is that correct? Then that's a good thing," Naruto said with a smile. "What exactly does that mean?" "It means I can go all ape on your ass," Naruto said as he crossed his hands before bringing them down to his sides and triggering his brutality. As he saw Naruto look at him with a crazed grin and clenched his fists, Kabuto began to shiver. "Please do me the honor of being my punching bag and try not to die in the process," he said as he dashed all the while cackling maniacally. Jiraiya and Orochimaru were still fighting on top of the snakes when they felt an unexpected pressure and turned to see Naruto charging at Kabuto with a maniacal expression on his face. "What did that brat do to himself?" exclaimed Orochimaru, while Jiraiya smiled knowingly. "That, my old friend, is Naruto's brutality. Normally, I'd explain it to you, but I think I'll let your lackey explain it to you since he's about to experience it firsthand." Jiraiya dashed forward to engage Orochimaru once more. As Naruto approached, Kabuto pulled out two kunai, one of which he thrust out, but Naruto deflected with his glove and grabbed the other, pulling Kabuto in and slamming a headbutt into his. The medic stumbled backwards, leaving himself open to Naruto's barrage of punches and kicks, which gradually increased in speed as he continued wailing on him. Naruto simply shrugged it off as he grabbed Kabuto by the back of the head and drove it into a rising knee so hard that a crack could be heard. "I'm just getting started." Naruto slammed his fist into Kabuto's chin, launching him into the air before jumping after him with dive kicks. He planted a series of kicks, but they were about to fall back to the ground when Naruto grabbed Kabuto and flipped him into the air. He punched his opponent quickly before stopping as he began to spin like a wheel and exiting with a heel raised high, happy landings. Then he brought it down, sending Kabuto crashing into the ground hard enough to form a crater and landing nearby. Naruto lowered his gaze to Kabuto, who was slowly rising to his feet with his back to him. When he saw Kabuto begin to turn around, he dashed forward with his fist reared back and coated with chakra to end it. It's over, Kabuto. At that moment, Kabuto had fully turned around, but he had a smirk on his face. You're open. Kabuto launched a chakra-covered palm at Naruto's chest, which made contact, causing Naruto to twitch slightly before slumping over. You were too arrogant with your power, and that is what killed you. Naruto! Exclaimed Shizune as she watched in horror at what had happened. Tsunade was also terrified, and seeing him die reminded her of how Dan and Nawaki had died. Kabuto turned to face Tsunade with an evil smile. Now to deal with you. He was about to approach her when he noticed something was wrong. He couldn't move his arm, then he heard a voice he shouldn't have heard. I had suspected something since you stopped using that medical technique, which is why I made it appear as if I had charged in recklessly, but lo and behold, you were faking it. Naruto raised his head with a grin. But how? I smacked your chest. You did hit something, but you should really practice your aim. Naruto looked down with Kabuto following his sight, only to be stunned to see that his palm had been caught by the wrist only inches from Naruto's chest. Like I said before, Kabuto, it's over. Naruto held out his free palm and chakra began to gather around it, spinning rapidly before finally solidifying into a blue spinning orb. That jutsu. Could he really have mastered it in such a short time? Tsunade exclaimed, stunned. Rasengan. Naruto slammed the blue spinning sphere into Kabuto's chest, sending the sound ninja flying across the field until he collided with a large rock. Naruto expected him to collapse to the ground, but was surprised to see Kabuto still standing and the part of his body that had been ground down by the jutsu slowly healing itself. To be able to heal from your father's jutsu, this boy is truly extraordinary, Kurama said. I'll admit that technique of yours is powerful, but it will take more than that to bring me down, Kabuto said as he slowly approached them, then noticed Naruto smirking. There's a reason it's an A-ranked jutsu, you dummy, he said, and Kabuto coughed up blood and trembled before collapsing to his knees. How can it be? This level of damage. My chakra won't be enough to heal all of it, Kabuto exclaimed as he struggled to stand. Naruto turned around to see Tsunade looking at him in surprise and smirked. Looks like you lost a bet, eh? Tsunade still didn't say anything when Shizune cried out unexpectedly. Watch out, Tsunade-sama. She turned to see Orochimaru approaching her with the kusanagi protruding from his mouth. Her fear of blood had completely paralyzed her movement as she closed her eyes and awaited the blade to pierce through her heart. She felt a gust of wind, followed by the squelching of flesh, but she was not in pain. When she opened her eyes, she saw Naruto standing between them, his kusanagi sticking out of his back. Why did you jump in the way? She inquired. I was asking myself the same question. I'm supposed to be upset with you leaving me behind back then, and yet my body moved on its own, Naruto said before turning his head to respond to her. Kukakuku, you're just like your father Naruto-kun, always putting other people's lives ahead of your own, such self-sacrificing fools. Orochimaru tried to push the blade deeper inside, but Naruto grabbed the hilt to hold it back as he turned to face Orochimaru. Hey Snakey. Warning. Orochimaru looked up to see a blue spinning sphere in front of his face, sending Naruto flying away. The poison from the blade was slowing the healing effect of Kurama's chakra. Naru-kun, hold on. I'm sending as much chakra as I can. Exclaimed Kurama, her eyes welling up with tears. Kurama-san, please hurry. He's going into cardiac arrest, Shinami expressed concern. Shizune was healing her legs as quickly as she could so she could reach Naruto and cure him of the poison. She looked up and saw Tsunade still sitting nearby quivering in fear. Tsunade-sama, what are you doing? Hurry and heal Naruto or he'll die. Tsunade didn't respond and sat there not moving an inch, which made Shizune very angry and do something she had never done in her entire life. Yell at her master, Tsunade. Stop, run away from your sorrows. UAB. Hearing those words made Tsunade reflect on the events of the previous week. Flashback begin. Being Hokage is nothing more than a fool's game. I'm speaking to a drunken old hag who is a bad gambler, avoids her responsibilities, and is a bad coward. The purpose of being Hokage is something that should never be taken lightly. Previously, it wasn't truly my goal to be Hokage, but if it is to protect all who are dear to me, then I shall make it my dream to be Hokage. I don't think he hates you, Tsunade. When we first met, he beat me up for the same reason and was cold to me for a while, but as time passed, he gradually warmed up to me, so I'm sure the same can happen to you. Which is why I want you to think about it very carefully, because your decision will affect not only yourself, but others like Naruto. I just hope you make the right choice. I'm so sorry for leaving you behind and saying those things, but I promise to try to make things right between us and take care of you like I should have, she says. End of flashback. What am I doing? I swore to myself that I would start making things right between us, and yet I'm sitting on the ground shaking in fear while my godson is dying before me. I wasn't there for Nawaki, and I couldn't save Dan, but I'll be damned to hell if I let you die too. Tsunade stood to her feet as the trembling stopped completely, and she knelt before Naruto's prone. Everyone was stunned, including Jiraiya, who had attempted to stop Orochimaru from attacking Tsunade but was caught off guard and slammed to the ground before eventually recovering. She stopped shaking. Could it be that Tsunade has overcome her fear of blood? Jiraiya wondered. Tsunade was so focused on healing Naruto's wound that she blocked out everything else, until she heard a weak voice. I think you've done enough for now. She looked up to see Naruto smiling at her as he slowly rose from the ground. Naru-kun, you're alive. Don't scare us like that again, exclaimed Kurama happily, tears streaming down her cheeks. Chinami was also in tears. Naruto? Are you okay? Tsunade inquired, concerned. Thanks to you, I am now, but I believe you owe me a necklace, which I will save for after dealing with a certain snake for attempting to kill you and stabbing me in the gut, with interest. Are you certain? You're still hurt. Not really, your medical ninjutsu has helped me a lot, and Ku Chakra Chan's was able to get rid of the poison, so I'm good to go. Naruto was now standing on his own. I see. Then in that case, Tsunade bit her thumb and swiped it across her forearm, while Naruto smirked and bit his thumb as well, starting a series of hand signs. Jiraiya saw what they were planning and followed suit, saying, please work this time. Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto struggled to his knees as Orochimaru jumped over him, swiping his blood across the tattoo. They all slammed their palms on the ground at the same time, calling out, summoning jutsu. There was a large puff of white smoke before it cleared away, revealing Tsunade standing atop a giant white slug with blue stripes running down its body, Jiraiya atop Gamabunta, and Orochimaru atop a giant purple snake. However, Naruto was standing on what appeared to be an orange Tyrannosaurus Rex with spikes on its right shoulder and jaw, a gray tail tip, and blue stripes on its legs, neck, and mouth. It also has a red chest plate, a metallic helmet with 3 horns, a massive revolver for a left arm, and 3 cannons on each of its red mechanical wings. Manda and Orochimaru, Katsuyu and Tsunade, and it appears Naruto has brought a friend along to witness this long-awaited reunion, Gamabunta said after taking a puff from his smoking pipe. Did you bring a hanky, Jiraiya? I think I'm going to cry, Gamabunta said. I didn't summon you after all this time just to listen to your stupid jokes, Gamma. It's about time we put this long rivalry to rest because today is the day we put Orochimaru out of our misery, Jiraiya said. Why did you summon me here, Orochimaru? You know I don't like being summoned. Maybe I should just eat you and get rid of your annoyance, Manda said. Please Manda-sama, I assure you that you will be well rewarded for your trouble, Kabuto said soothingly. Who do you think you're talking to, you little bug? What could the likes of you possibly have that I could possibly want? Orochimaru, I expect 100 human sacrifices from you when this is over. This is bad. If he discovers that Orochimaru can't use any of his jutsu, he'll most likely betray us. Summoning Manda could be a huge mistake. Katsuyu, I need your help in this battle, Tsunade said.
Yes, Tsunade-sama, the slug replied.
Yo Naruto, I was wondering when you were going to summon me for a battle, bro? The new summon asked. I'm sorry for keeping you waiting, Rise Greymon, but it looks like I'll need your assistance in taking down a certain snake, Naruto explained. Well, it's about time. I felt a little left out when you summoned Geo Greymon for the invasion of your village, but now it's my time to shine, Rise Greymon said, cocking his revolver in preparation for the upcoming battle. I'm going to enjoy popping you like a balloon, you stinking dirty toad. Manda sneered at Gamabunta. Then come and try it. I've always been thinking of getting a snakeskin wallet every time I look at you, and now's a good time. Gamabunta stowed his pipe and unsheathed his sword a little. You are no longer worthy to be a member of the three Sannin. Your evil ways will be ended, Jiraiya said. Not worthy to be one of you? I find it an insult to even be associated with the likes of you, Orochimaru chuckled darkly. There will be one less Sannin in the world after this, Tsunade predicted. And you're going to pay for attacking the Hidden Leaf Village and attempting to kill Gigi. Snarled Naruto. Katsuyu was the first to move as she charged at Manda, acid slime. She yelled as she spat a gloop of brown slimy substance at Manda. The snake quickly slithered around a large rock to avoid the slime as it hit the rock before charging at Katsuyu and Tsunade. I'll begin with you too. Rise Greymon, let's go. Naruto exclaimed. You got it, bro. Rise Greymon dashed forward, catching up with Manda just as he was about to chomp down on Katsuyu with his long fangs. Take this. Barrel smash. Rise Greymon slammed the barrel of his revolver into Manda's head, sending him reeling from the pain. Thank you, Rise Greymon-san, Katsuyu said. Don't bring it up, Rise Greymon said. Naruto, be careful. Jiraiya exclaimed abruptly. At that moment, Manda had recovered from the hit and swooped in on them, wrapping Rise Greymon in a coil and starting to squeeze tightly. That hurt you little brats, so I'm going to eat you. Manda opened his mouth and was about to bite them. Bunta, help them. Jiraiya exclaimed. I already know. Gamabunta fully unsheathed his tanto and threw it at Manda, but the snake saw it coming and caught it with his mouth, then threw it back, forcing Gamabunta to jump out of the way of his own blade as it stabbed into the ground. Now where was I? Oh yes, Manda said as he returned his gaze to Naruto and Rise Greymon. Well, if you want something spicy, I have a recipe for you. Naruto took a stance as a red rune with Sita characters surrounded him and flames appeared on his hands, Ninpo, Art of the Inferno. Then he thrust forwards as he shot a giant fireball that slammed into Manda's face, causing him to roar in pain and loosen his grip enough for Rise Greymon to break free. It appears that the first hit wasn't enough for you, so let me make it up to you. Rise Greymon slammed the barrel of his revolver into Manda's face once more, only this time it was stronger as the snake was thrown back rather violently. I'm not done yet, Trident revolver. He flew high into the air before aiming his gun and firing 3 rounds, inflicting serious wounds on Manda. Let's heat things up, Bunta. Serve up the oil while I turn on the heat. Jiraiya said, motioning with his hands. You got it. Gamabunta's cheeks puffed up, and he jerked his head back, spewing brown liquid from his mouth. Fire style. Toad flame bomb. Jiraiya launched a blast of flames from his mouth onto the oil, causing the flames to grow even larger and stronger as they engulfed Manda. That should suffice. No, it was too easy, Jiraiya said as the flames died down, revealing what appears to be Manda's skin crumbling away. Just like a snake, he shed his skin. Something burst out of the ground towards Gamabunta, who reacted just in time to catch it only to see that it was Manda's tail. Then Manda's head burst out of the ground from behind Gamabunta with his jaws wide open. At that moment, a blade from above pierced Manda's and pinned him to the ground, with Tsunade standing on top of the handle. "Shut your mouth!" exclaimed Tsunade. "Fighting one Sannin is hard enough, but fighting two along with that brat leaves this battle in their favor," Orochimaru said as he launched his tongue at Tsunade and wrapped it tightly around her neck. "Tsunade!" Jiraiya exclaimed, concerned. "Damn it, I don't have enough chakra to break free," exclaimed Tsunade as she struggled to break free from the long tongue. "I've always wondered what it would be like to wring that pretty neck of yours, Kukakuku." "Not happening, you snake freak." Naruto slid down Raizgraymon's back, using his tail as a springboard before diving towards Orochimaru. He directed chakra to his bracelet and exclaimed, "Reborn." The bracelet glowed, and he was wearing the X gloves, headphones, and orange eye contacts, and a tongue of flame appeared on his forehead. As he flew towards them, the gloves caught fire and shot out. He grabbed the tongue and burned it, causing Orochimaru to release Tsunade's neck. "Get over here!" he yelled, pulling hard on the tongue to bring the snake over to him and landing a fiery haymaker to send him flying away. He used the gloves to fly up the Tonto's handle to check on Tsunade. "Are you okay?" he asked. "Yeah, but I'm not done with that bastard yet," Tsunade said as she inhaled air after nearly collapsing. "Naruto-sama, I know of a weapon that could help her." "I'm sending you the information," Shinami said. "I have something that will give your punches the extra oomph," Naruto said, channeling chakra to the bracelet once more, RWBY. There was a bright glow that faded to reveal Tsunade wearing yellow gauntlets that covered her hands and forearms and served as arm guards. Tsunade looked at them, surprised and a little curious. What are they supposed to do? Then images of a woman with long wavy blonde hair fighting in a bar with the gauntlets flashed through her mind before snapping back to reality as she smirked before pumping her fists, making a clicking sound from the gauntlets. "Well, I do now, shall we?" Ladies first, Tsunade directed the gauntlets behind her and fired dual shots with the recoil propelling her forward quickly towards Orochimaru. Naruto quickly followed by also directing the gloves behind him and releasing flames to propel him forward to catch up with her. Tsunade had arrived ahead of Orochimaru and began punching him left and right as hard and fast as she could, with flashes of light resembling explosions or flames destroying a portion of Orochimaru's clothes each time. To avoid the onslaught of attacks, Orochimaru leaps backwards. Tsunade's punches, on the other hand, caused the gauntlets to fire red shells that exploded when they hit. Switch. Naruto sped past Tsunade, who pumped her fists to cause the gauntlets to eject the empty shells, and 2 rolls of ammo appeared in her hands, which she slung into the gauntlets to reload. It was now Naruto's turn to attack, and he began with rapid fire punches in the torso before switching targets to the face with straight punches and jabs, gotcha, and continued to punch him in the face repeatedly until he was thrown back by a more powerful one. Naruto was about to continue when an image of the previous owner appeared, holding a gauntlet with a Roman #1 on it and dashed forward to punch an opponent with it. "I see, so that's what you want me to do. Cambio forma. Modo attacco mightina di Vongola primo." His right hand lit up in flames before fading to reveal the gauntlet he saw in the vision, and Tsunade appeared next to him. "Let's finish him off." Tsunade channeled chakra to the left gauntlet, and a click could be heard from it. Naruto nodded in agreement as he stood beside her before they dashed towards each other with their fists cocked back. "Greetings from hell, Orochimaru." "Big Bang Axel, it's lights out for you." They thrust their fists forward and smashed them into Orochimaru's face, resulting in an explosion and flames. Orochimaru flew out of the fiery explosion, crashing into the blade's handle and landing on top of Manda, his upper body charred and battered. He took the full power of those attacks without putting up any kind of defense, Kabuto said as he crawled over to Orochimaru's prone form. It's over now, Jiraiya said. Yeah, Gamabunta agreed. Grr. I should eat you both for your incompetence, but I have a hole in my mouth, Manda grumbled. If we meet again, well, you better hope we don't, he added before disappearing in a puff of smoke. What a sore loser. I'll catch you later, Naruto, Rise Greymon scoffed. I can't tell everyone my story, especially little Kuromon. Okay. Rise Greymon, see you later, Naruto said, and Rise Greymon nodded before disappearing. Then he turned around and was surprised to see Orochimaru still standing, albeit battered. How could he still live after taking those attacks from you and Tsunade? Anyone else would have died even from the impact. Kurama exclaimed in disbelief. So, Tsunade, you refuse to heal my arms. Well, it doesn't matter any longer because I have another way and I will destroy the village, you can count on it. Orochimaru raised his head, revealing a section of his face torn away to reveal another beneath it. What the hell did this guy do to himself? Thought Naruto as he looked on in disbelief. Tsunade was taken aback. You meant that forbidden jutsu, didn't you? That explains everything, he's been shifting into other people's bodies, Jiraiya grumbled. Yes, and the next time we meet, I'll show you what it's like to be an immortal, Orochimaru said as he sank to the ground with a dark chuckle and vanished, followed by Kabuto with a body flicker. Jiraiya desired to pursue them, but the effects of the drug and his battle wounds prevented him from doing so. Now that it's over for the time being, let's head back into town to heal our wounds, Jiraiya said, receiving nods from everyone as they began their journey back into town. The following day, the group reconvened at the same bar for a discussion, during which Tsunade made a statement. I've made a decision. I've decided to take on the job of Hokage, Tsunade said, leaving everyone stunned, though Naruto simply raised an eyebrow. What's the matter, Naruto? Is there something bothering you? Jiraiya inquired. Quite a bit, pervy sage. I know Gigi and the elders said she's the right one for the job, but from what I've seen she drinks a lot, is bad with money, and completely sucks at gambling, which makes me worry about the village's financial situation, and who says she won't run away again? Said Naruto. Tsunade, who had many tick marks on her body, stood up from her chair and looked at Naruto, saying, You want to take outside, you little brat? Whatever you want to say. Jiraiya simply rubbed his chin. Here we go again, he said. Outside the bar, Naruto and Tsunade were once again facing each other on the street, with Jiraiya, Shizune, Taunton, and Tora on the sidelines. I may have flaws, but that doesn't mean I'll abuse the Hokage's power and prove it to you. Normally, I'd be toying with you, but now I'm going to take you seriously, Tsunade said. I hope so, because the village needs to be watched over until I become Hokage, which will happen eventually, Naruto said, taking a stance while Tsunade stood ready. Then he dashed forward and threw a punch that Tsunade caught with an open palm. She was about to throw him when he opened his palm to release a smokescreen by dropping a small black pellet to the ground. Tsunade jumped away from the smoke when she felt something approaching from behind her, and she turned around to see Naruto descending from the air. Tsunade prepared for whatever he was about to do, but he was completely unprepared for what happened next. He wrapped a warm hug around her. I was just teasing you earlier, let's go home, Daibo, godmother, Naruto said as he stepped back. Tsunade was still stunned when she smiled happily and hugged him back. Let's Nadzuko, godson, she said. The others were cheerful as they prepared to return to the Hidden Leaf Village. We're finally back to the Hidden Leaf Village, Naruto said joyfully as he saw the giant gates in the distance, a smile on his face, the Hokage necklace glinting in the sunlight around his neck. Jiraiya agreed and stood next to him. Even after we've been gone for a few weeks, I still get a sense of nostalgia, she says. I never expected to be back here after all these years. Things have changed quite a bit since I was gone, Tsunade said. I can't wait to see all my old friends again, exclaimed Shizune, holding Taunton in her arms. But first and foremost, we need to go to the hospital so Tsunade can heal Sarutobi-sensei, as well as Kakashi and Sasuke Uchiha, who were both attacked by Itachi Uchiha during our search, Jiraiya explained. They continued on their journey until they arrived at the giant gates, where they saw Azumo and Kotetsu sitting in the guardhouse on sentry duty as usual, Naruto and Jiraiya approaching, and were surprised to see Tsunade and her apprentice with them. Tsunade-sama, it gives us great pleasure to see you return to the village, Azumo said as he and Kotetsu rose from their seats to bow to her. Tsunade simply smiled and nodded at them. It's been a long time since I left this place, and now I'm back. So, what has happened since Pervy Sage and I left? Jiraiya reacted angrily when Naruto referred to him as a pervert rather than a superhuman. We're still repairing from the invasion, and we've made good progress thanks to those construction crews from Wave Country, Kotetsu explained. That's fantastic. We're off to the hospital to get Gigi well. We'll see you later, guys, Naruto said as he and the others entered the village. Many people were staring at the group as they walked to the hospital, especially Naruto. Many people were surprised to see Tsunade and Jiraiya walking back to the village, as well as Naruto. Some still looked at him with hatred, which made Tsunade and Jiraiya clench their fists in rage, but many of the villagers looked at him with respect and gratitude, which soothed them. Naruto noticed that the number of glares had decreased significantly, which made him feel much better. Most of them are finally accepting me for who I am, Naruto reflected, smiling inwardly. That's good, because I hated how they were looking at you before. This is a change I would welcome, Kurama stated. They saw how Kurama-san fought to defend the village during the invasion. This is very well deserved, Shinami stated. Well, I had to defend my home after all, Naruto reasoned. He was startled out of his thoughts when he felt someone tackle him into a hug. He looked down to see a little girl happily hugging him. Ni-chan, you've returned. Ka-san and I looked everywhere for you, but we were told you had left the village on a mission, remarked the girl as a woman approached with a smile on her face. Naruto remembered saving one of his clones from being raped by one of the sound ninjas before summoning Shoutman and then Geogramon to battle the snake summons. I'm glad Shoutman protected both of you, Naruto said with a smile. My daughter and I just wanted to thank you for saving us, the woman said. It's fine, it's my duty to protect everyone in the village, Naruto said. When the woman bowed to him before walking away with her daughter, who waved him goodbye, more of the prejudiced villagers began to have second thoughts. Tsunade and Jiraiya smiled warmly as they passed the villagers and continued their journey to the hospital, where they went up to the special ward where Hiruzen was recovering. When the third Hokage saw the people enter, he turned his head towards the open door and smiled tiredly. It's been years since I've seen you, Tsunade, and you've grown too, Shizune, Hiruzen said. Indeed, sensei, I see you're still hanging in there, Tsunade said. As long as my will of fire burns, I refuse to die until my true time comes. Then let me help you by healing your injuries. I'll also take the baton and become Hokage in your place, Tsunade said as she walked over to heal her former teacher's injuries. I'm surprised, because I expected you to rebel against it. Believe me, I did, she says, but a certain blonde-haired kid had to beat some sense into me to change my mind, and here I am. But don't forget how mad he was at you for what you said earlier before that, Jiraiya smirked, as Tsunade became nervous and Hiruzen quirked an eyebrow in confusion. I could understand Naruto being angry because you weren't there for him despite being duped by Danzo. What did you say? Hiruzen inquired. It's all in the past now. You don't need to know. She spoke quickly because she didn't want her sensei to be angry at her for insulting previous Hokages, including Naruto's father. I'll be heading home while you go heal Kakashi ni and check on Lee. I know you'll be able to help him, Naruto said as he turned to leave. Sure. Gaki, we'll send for you when the time comes, Jiraiya said. Naruto had just left the hospital and was on his way to the Namikaze mansion when he came to a halt and spoke aloud as he looked to his left at the fence. You can come out right now. Then a piece of cloth painted to look like a fence was removed, revealing Konohamaru, Moegi, and Udon, who were delighted to see him. Hi Naruto ni! Exclaimed Konohamaru cheerfully. What have you been up to, guys? We've been assisting the teachers in cleaning up the academy after the invasion, Moegi explained. We wanted to train with you for a while, but we were told you were on a mission, Udon explained. What was the mission about? Konohamaru inquired. Well, Gigi and the elders had sent Pervy Sage and I to find one of the Sannin Tsunade and bring her back to become the 5th Hokage, but that was only part of the reason because I needed her to help heal a good friend of mine, Naruto explained. What? Do you mean Gramps will be replaced? But why is that? Konohamaru, who was surprised and upset, was asked. Consider this. Gigi is getting older, and he would have been killed if my special shadow clone hadn't intervened. Tsunade Bakken is also related to previous Hokages, making her the most qualified candidate. But what if the villagers forget about Gramps and Ao? Konohamaru questioned. He held his head in pain from Naruto's bonk, who was looking at him sternly. What was that for? Don't think that way, there's no way that will happen, he said, pointing to the Hokage monument. Nobody will ever forget Gigi, just as no one will forget the Hokages before him. We'll be there to remind them if they do. Konohamaru apologized, saying, Sorry, I was just upset that Gramps was retiring. Naruto smiled fondly and ruffled his surrogate brother's hair. Don't be concerned, Otouto. Look at it this way. Gigi will now have time to teach you his techniques, correct? You're right, and I'll use them to beat you when the time comes to fight for the Hokage position. Exclaimed Konohamaru. That will definitely make for an exciting battle, Naruto smirked. Anyway, I have to get home and unpack, so I'll see you later, she says. Bye Naruto ni, Konohamaru, Moegi, and Udon said as they ran away to who knows where. Naruto continued on his journey until he reached the Namikaze compound. It's good to be back home, don't you think? Yes, it's Naru-kun, Kurama confirmed, with Shinami nodding in agreement. Naruto turned the knob and was about to enter when the door flew open and he was tackled to the ground by a green blur after Tora leapt out of the hood in time. He slowly sat to see that Fu was now happily hugging him and Haku was walking out to them while looking amused. Hi Naruto-kun, I missed you. Fu exclaimed. Yeah, you've been gone for a long time, Chomei from Fu's Mindscape said with a cute pout. We're glad to see you've returned, Haku said. Hey girls, how have you been? Naruto asked as he rose from the ground, Fu still hugging him. We're fine, Hinata and Meiji were training at the Hyuga compound, Anko is helping Ibiki at the T&I, Kurenai is teaching Sakura some genjutsu, Ino is working at her family's floral shop, and Tenten is helping her father at their weapons shop. Well, I'll send some shadow clones to get them. I have a lot to tell you girls, Naruto said, before creating some clones that flew away before he entered the house with the girls. Meanwhile, Tsunade was sitting in the ward with the patient and Guy, looking at the clipboard containing the results of Rock Lee's health condition. So, Tsunade-sama, how are things going? Can you assist him? Guy inquired, concerned. His injuries have left numerous bone fragments embedded in his spinal column. He can only move around with a crutch. He is currently unable to carry out his physical duties as a shinobi, Tsunade said with a frown on her face. Tsunade-sama, surely there's a way you can help him? Right? There's a surgical operation that can restore his body to how it was before, Tsunade said, making Guy sigh in relief and Lee look hopeful. However, this surgery has a 50-50 chance of succeeding or failing. This is a critical decision that will determine your future as a shinobi. Do you mean that this surgery could help me continue my life as a ninja or end it? Lee asked, to which Tsunade nodded and fell silent. I await your response, but you should know that Naruto's reason for bringing me back here was to help you, saying that he wished to help a fellow ninja who is also a genius in hard work. Tsunade left the room to meet the elders and plan her inauguration. Guy finally spoke up after a long period of silence. Lee, I want you to know that no matter what choice you make, I will always be there for you. Even if I gave up on my dreams? Lee wondered. If you give up on your dreams, you will experience pain unlike anything you have ever experienced. We share a ninja way of life, and without it, we would perish. Consider the Lee operation, Guy added, but Lee still appeared unsure of himself. Do you recall that challenge I issued to my eternal rival Kakashi? I recall. Lee recalled how, when he and his team were first starting out, they saw Guy constantly challenging Kakashi to different things, such as a game of rock, paper, scissors, which Guy wound up losing and forcing himself to do 100 laps around the village on his hands if he lost. But I also recall him saying that it's not just about skill, but also about luck. This is a life or death operation. But this isn't a child's game. True, but only you have the power to shape your own destiny, and I have no doubt that the surgery will be a success, and if you die in the midst of it, I will die along with you. Lee looked at Guy in disbelief, tears welling up in his eyes. My nindo has been to train you to become the best ninja possible since we first met, and that's a promise, Guy said, striking his trademark good guy pose. And don't forget that your eternal adversary is waiting for you. Lee was perplexed by what he said, my sworn enemy? Who is this individual? Naruto, of course. He, too, is a hard worker, and he recognized it in you, which is why he went to find Tsunade-sama and bring her back to assist you. He didn't want your dream to fade away. Naruto, he remembered seeing the blonde motivate Choji, saving Tenten during the preliminaries, defeating Neji, who is known to be a genius, and fighting to protect the village during the sand and sound invasion. Then he looked up at the guy with determined eyes. I'll take the operation, Guy-sensei. Lee, congrats. You are truly in your youth's springtime. Guy happily hugged his student. Meanwhile, back at the Namikaze compound, Naruto smiled as he watched the girls squeal with delight over the gifts he brought from the town he and Jiraiya passed through on their way to find Tsunade. Thank you, Naruto-kun, Hinata said shyly, wearing the necklace. You're so sweet, Naruto-kun, Fu said, her green hair adorned with a beetle-shaped hairclip. Yeah, you know exactly what we like, Chome said, making a hairclip similar to Fu's. Sakura was admiring her kimono bracelet, Haku was wearing earrings, Ino had her brooch pinned to her dress, and Tenten planned to wear the bun covers later. Anything for you girls, Naruto said with a sly grin that made the girls blush. How was it now that Tsunade-sama has returned? Tenten, who admires the Sannin, expressed her delight. At first I was upset with her, but now I'm glad she's back here with me, Naruto smiled. What did she say that made you angry with her? Sakura inquired. It's in the past now, so don't worry about it, Naruto explained. Alright if you say so, Ino said. The villagers were relieved when Hiruzen, Kakashi, and Sasuke were released from the hospital 2 days later. Kakashi offered to teach Naruto some of his jutsu after noticing that the blonde only had a few. Hiruzen and the elders assisted Tsunade in preparing for the position of Hokage. Since his encounter with Itachi, Sasuke has become estranged from everyone, including his team, and prefers to train alone, much to their chagrin. The next day, everyone gathered at the Hokage Tower to watch Tsunade, Hiruzen, Jiraiya, and the elders install her as the 5th Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village, much to everyone's delight. Naruto and Shikamaru were also promoted to Chunin, though Naruto refused to wear the jacket. Tsunade summoned Naruto, Sakura, and Hinata to the mission room after several weeks of training and day-to-day activities. And they're now standing in front of her, ready to hear what she has to say to them. Tsunade Bakken, what are you about to send us on? And where are Anko-chan and Kurenai-san? Naruto inquired. Both of them, as well as other Junins, have been sent out of the village on their assigned missions, and since you're a Chunin now, you've been placed in charge in their absence, Tsunade said, normally scolding Naruto for calling her that, but Hiruzen explained that it's Naruto's form of endearment. Calling her otherwise indicates that he is serious. Very well, Tsunade-sama, what is the goal of our mission? Sakura inquired. It's a B-rank escort mission that can be upgraded to a rank if you get into trouble, Tsunade explained. It's almost like that mission to Wave Country, Kurama said. So, who will we be escorting? Naruto inquired. I'm not sure, Tsunade admitted, much to the surprise of the team. To explain, our neighbor the Land of Tea holds a dedication ceremony at the Great Todoroki Shrine every 4 years. And each time, we're asked to accompany a runner who will take part in a ceremony-related race. This year, the messengers carrying the request were attacked before they arrived. Tsunade-sama, we don't know the story very well, Hinata admitted. Don't worry. Once you meet Boss Jirocho, he'll fill you in on everything, Tsunade said. I believe we met that man back at Hot Spring Village before we returned, Shinami explained. That's what we did, Shinami-chan, Naruto reflected. That's all I know so far. They expect you to arrive in the Land of Tea by the end of the day, so get on and please be careful, Tsunade said. Don't worry, Ba-chan, we'll finish this mission and return to you safely, Naruto said. They then took off and prepared themselves for the mission. What they didn't realize was that this mission would be just as dangerous as the Wave mission. Naruto, Sakura, and Hinata had long since left the Hidden Leaf Village and were now halfway to their destination to meet the person who had issued their mission and obtain the other half of the information that Tsunade had given them. Naruto was leading the way at the time, holding a map of the area and making sure they hadn't gotten lost. He then looked up from the map and addressed the girls. Hinata-chan, Sakura-chan. How do we take a short break? There's a tea house nearby, and we haven't eaten in quite some time. Naruto rolled up the map and stuffed it into his ninja pouch. Sure, Naruto-kun. I was feeling a little hungry, and I'm sure Hinata is as well, Sakura said, with Hinata nodding in agreement. Soon after, the trio arrived at the tea house and took a seat at a table while the tea house's owner took their orders. Naruto requested sweet bean soup, Sakura requested kusamochi, and Hinata requested daifukumochi. The lady complied with their requests and later brought them food, which they happily ate while drinking tea. After this, it's straight to the Land of Tea for the mission, Naruto said, sipping his green tea. I just hope it's not as dangerous as our last mission back at the Land of Waves, Hinata said. Don't worry, Hinata-chan. We've worked hard and I'm confident that we'll be able to handle whatever comes our way. All you need is your badass self and maximum effort. Said Deadpool-sensei. Naruto said this with a foxy grin, making the girls laugh. You must be confident to say those things, or are you arrogant about your own strength, a voice next to them said. They turned to see a boy a little older than them, wearing a short cloak and holding a straw hat, with dark brown hair tied in a short ponytail like their friend Shikamaru. Naruto wasn't pleased with what the man said to him, and neither were the girls sitting across from him. "Watch it, buddy, don't go saying things you have no idea about or you'll be sorry," Naruto frowned. Apparently, the guy ignored him and smiled at the girls. "Hello, my name is Idate. What are two lovely ladies like you doing out here?" said the man who is now known as Idate. "Sorry, but we don't speak to disrespectful men, especially ones who insulted our fiancé," Sakura said, glaring at Idate and Hinata, which confused the boy. "Fiancé?" Idate inquired, then felt a hand clamp on his shoulder, slowly squeezing him to the point of pain. He turned around in terror as he saw Naruto glaring at him with a small amount of killing intent. "You better stop flirting with me before I start hurting," Naruto said coldly. Idate regained his composure and responded. "I was joking. You ninjas are all alike, and if there's one thing I despise, it's a ninja. I'm leaving now." The boy then turned and walked away, still staring at Naruto. "Please, Naru-kun, calm down. The fool has vanished," Kurama stated. Naruto sighed and sat down to drink his tea before the lady appeared and dropped a pair of bills for the food, much to their surprise. "Excuse me, but why are you handing us 2 bills instead of 1? Hinata inquired. "Oh, the young man who just left said you'd be paying for the food he ate," the lady responded. However, this exacerbated Naruto's simmering rage, and the girls were just as irritated as Naruto, with Hinata scowling. After flirting with Hinata-chan and Sakura-chan, he dines and dashes. Instead of hurting him, I'm maiming him. Hinata activated her Byakugan and surprised herself by speaking up. "I found him, but he's a long way away and moving fast." "What? Then we'd better get moving to catch up to him." Naruto walked away from Sakura and Hinata, who were directing them, after dropping the money on the table. Hinata spoke up again after a bit of jumping through the trees, saying that she had located Idate and that he had tripped himself, making it easier to finally catch up, and sure enough, they landed in front of him. "We finally tracked you down. You have a lot of nerve dumping your bill on us and fleeing." Naruto charged forward, grabbing Idate by the collar and pulling his face close to his. "Do you have anything to say before I punch you to next Tuesday?" I'm sorry. I couldn't pay the bill because all my money had been stolen and I had no other way," Idate said, sweating profusely. "Naru-kun, he's deceiving you. I can feel his heart pounding like a drum," Kurama stated. Naruto sneered, "Nice try, but I'm not falling for that kind of excuse." He raised his fist and was about to punch when they heard a thump and saw what appeared to be a black jackknife with a fancy golden design. "What is this doing here?" Sakura asked as she approached the item to pick it up. Due to his lack of strength in the hold, Idate unexpectedly broke Naruto's grip and quickly scooped up the jackknife in his hands. "Keep your hands off, this belongs to me," exclaimed Idate, reaching into his leg warmers and pulling out a pair of objects that made clanging noises. "Naruto-sama, that boy appears to be holding leg weights," Shinami observed. "Weights on the legs?" That means, Naruto reflected as he looked at Idate, who was smirking. "On your marks, get ready, and go." Then he threw the weights to the ground, creating a cloud of dust. Naruto channeled wind chakra into his hand and waved it to blow away the cloud, only to see the guy take off at high speed, leaving a trail of dust behind. "What the hell? That man just performed a Roadrunner skit," Naruto yelled, making everyone around him sweat drop. "How are we going to catch up to him now?" Sakura wondered. "Naruto-sama, use the air treks," Shinami exclaimed urgently. "Got it." Naruto revealed the bracelet by channeling chakra into it and calling out, "Tag time. Ride the skyway." There was a flashlight before it faded away to reveal Naruto wearing the air treks, along with Hinata and Sakura. "Let's go." The wheels on the air treks began to spin quickly before he took off at high speed. Sakura and Hinata close behind. When Hinata spoke up, they were speeding down the road. Naruto-kun, I've noticed that the boy we're looking for is heading toward the land of tea. Naruto raised an eyebrow in curiosity. Really? That makes things a lot more interesting. He's right up ahead. Sakura motioned Naruto and Hinata forward to where Idate was running on the road. Naruto increased his leg strength as he accelerated to catch up with the guy. Hello, road hog. Pull over to the side of the road so I can give you a speeding ticket and a knuckle sandwich. Naruto yelled. Idate looked behind him, and his eyes widened in surprise as he noticed someone he thought he had left far behind was actually catching up in some strange-looking shoes with wheels underneath them. Idate deviated from the path and ran into the forest, followed by Naruto. Sakura and Hinata wanted to follow but decided against it because they could find him again with Hinata's Byakugan and stayed on the road. Idate was darting left and right around the trees and leaping over rocks, all while trying to stay ahead of the blonde. Meanwhile, Naruto began drifting around the trees before launching himself off a slanted rock as a makeshift ramp, landing on the treetops and grinding along the branches before performing a method air at the end and landing back on the ground to stay in the chase. They soon emerged from the forest, running along the ledge of a tall cliff wall at their side. You're not going anywhere. Naruto yelled from behind because the ledge was too narrow for him to jump. We'll see what happens. Idate responded by yelling back. Unbeknownst to them, Idate had stepped on a specific spot of the ledge, causing the entire structure to collapse from behind him, and Naruto was closing in fast. Naru-kun, be careful. Kurama expressed concern. Don't worry, Ku-kan, I've got this. Naruto exclaimed. Naruto leapt towards the cliff wall, then landed on it, his air trek speeding up as he skated along the wall in a wide arc, spinning like a top before landing back on the ledge when it had stopped crumbling and was behind a stunned Idate. I have to admit, that was pretty cool, Idate said. Thank you, but that doesn't absolve you, Naruto says. True, but I've got things to do and places to go. So, until next time. Idate took something from his pocket and threw it to the ground, creating a large cloud of smoke that surprised Naruto when he burst through the cloud and saw that he was gone. But how exactly? He was directly in front of me. Naruto turned around to find himself back on the path and noticed an intersection. He must have known we were coming and used the smoke pellet to distract me while he went in another direction. It's best if we wait here for Sakura-san and Hinata-san to find us, Shinami suggested, to which Naruto agreed and doubled back. Sure enough, Hinata and Sakura arrived before him before disappearing in a flash of light along with his. I take it you didn't catch him, Naruto-kun, Sakura said. Yeah, he had me completely off guard when he used a smoke pellet to get away despite him not being a ninja. Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. However, we're getting close to the land of tea now, so we should get going, Hinata said. Continuing on their journey, the group arrived at their destination, Degarashi, where they followed the client's address in the mission scroll to a large mansion. Naruto and the girls were led into the clan's main room, where they saw a man with gray shaggy hair wearing a gray hakama sitting before them. Welcome, and thank you all for coming, Naruto, it's good to see you again, said the man who smiled upon seeing Naruto. Same here, Jirocho-san, Naruto said with a smile. Do you recognize him, Naruto-kun? Sakura inquired, perplexed. Yeah, we met when Tsunade Bakken and I were returning to the village, Naruto said. He's right, Tsunade-san is an old friend of mine, Jirocho said, prompting the others to nod in agreement. Tsunade-sama told us that you would explain the mission, Hinata said. Of course, please sit down while I explain why you're here, Jirocho said, as Naruto and the girls sat down to listen. Before I tell you about my request, you should be aware of the dedication ceremonies that take place at the Great Todoroki Shrine every 4 years. It all started many years ago, legend has it, with a terrible storm. People dedicated the Ryuko jewels to the Great Todoroki Shrine out of desperation, and it worked. The storm passed, and the ceremony is now held every 4 years. Originally, it was just a rededication of the jewels, but it later evolved into a festival and then a race, with the winner hailed as a great hero, Jirocho stated. That sounds like a nice festival, Hinata said. True, it is, but what was once a friendly race has now taken on a more troubling aspect. What do you mean? Sakura inquired. Port Degarashi has been divided for many generations between two families, the Wasabi, of which I am the head, and the Wagarashi, two rival gambling organizations. Both sides wanted control of the town, which led to disagreements and then to violent street fights in which the townspeople were caught in the crossfire, with many seriously injured or killed. That's terrible, Hinata said. Jirocho solemnly nodded. Indeed, our district leader convened the two clans with a plan to break the cycle of violence. Control of the town would no longer be decided by street brawls, but by a competition. And I'm sure the competition has something to do with the race in the ceremony, right? Naruto wondered. That's right, the Wagarashi destroyed us 4 years ago by hiring a ninja, and we've discovered that they've done the same thing this year. That is why we sent messengers to your village to seek assistance in order to level the playing field, but they were ambushed before they arrived. The Wagarashi have no honor at all, Kurama raged. Then, much to their surprise, Jirocho kneeled in front of Naruto and the others. Please lend your strength to our clan, I beg you. If we lose again, the Wagarashi will have control of the town for another 4 years. Please, Jirocho-san, stop bowing. Of course, we'll assist you, but who are we supposed to accompany? Naruto agreed, with Sakura and Hinata nodding. Thank you very much, I'll call him in. Jirocho stood up and clapped twice. Then a sliding door to the right opened, revealing someone familiar to the trio. Yes, boss, you summoned me? As he and Naruto pointed at each other, the person looked around and recognized the trio. You. They both exclaimed simultaneously. So you've already met Idate? That simplifies things considerably, Jirocho said with a smile. I'm not so sure about that, the girls thought as they watched lightning strike the two boys who were staring at each other. Naruto and the girls were walking through the streets of town later that day. Apparently, the race will take place the next day, but Naruto took the time to go for a walk because Idate was getting on his nerves, and what happened back at the tea house didn't help matters. Naruto escorted Hinata to a nearby shop to purchase a souvenir for Hanabi. She reached into one of the trays to select a charm, then looked at the price tag attached and was surprised by what she saw. Naruto looked over her shoulder in curiosity and had the same reaction. How could something like this cost so much? I know it shouldn't be that expensive, Naruto wondered. It could be related to the Wagarashi clan, as they currently control the town, Kurama speculated. I know what you're thinking, that it's too expensive. The group turned around to a lady they assumed to be the owner, who was smiling apologetically, and they felt a little uneasy because she was correct. Believe me when I say I wouldn't sell them at those prices, but the Wagarashi ordered them to be set that way, he says. Chalk up another reason for Jirocho to win this competition, Naruto mused, frowning. They ran outside when they heard a crash and saw a man sitting on the ground with broken doors underneath him and 3 men looming over him with menacing smirks on their faces. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. The man on the ground exclaimed. With an evil smile, one of the men reached down and pulled him up by the collar of his shirt. Surely you haven't forgotten that the Wagarashi can take whatever they want. If it weren't for us, you wouldn't be in business. I know, but taking them without payment. Oh, if it's about payment. Here you go. Everyone closed their eyes, not wanting to see until they heard a smack as the thug reared his fist back and brought it forward towards the man's face. The townspeople slowly opened their eyes to see a boy with spiky blonde hair and whisker-like marks on his cheeks holding back the punch, much to the surprise of the thugs, who glared angrily at him. "Who the hell are you?" exclaimed one of the thugs. "Only a passing through ninja. Keep that in mind." "Why, little? Get him." He let go of the man and charged at Naruto with the other two thugs, intent on knocking the arrogant brat to the ground. Bystanders watched in awe as Naruto stood with a smirk on his face and not a scratch on him after a one-sided beating involving punches, kicks, and a bit of wrestling moves, while the three thugs were limping away with black eyes, broken noses, and swollen cheeks after returning the wallet they had taken from the man earlier. "Things will be different next time, you little brat," one of the thugs groaned. "Hey guys, I'm up for a second round. Want to go?" Naruto yelled while cracking his knuckles loud enough for them to hear, and the thugs stiffened in fear before fleeing down the road, leaving a trail of dust in their wake. "And those little piggies ran, wah wah wah, all the way home," Naruto exclaimed in a squeaky voice, making everyone around him laugh. "Thank you, whoever you are, for assisting me," the man said gratefully. "It was nothing, I was glad to help," Naruto smiled. "If only the Wasabi won the race, we'd be done with them for good," said the shopkeeper's wife. "Then we'll just have to make sure, Hinata-chan and Sakura-chan?" The girls nodded in agreement before returning to Joricho's mansion to prepare for the race the next day. Before the sun rose the next morning, everyone had gathered at the port, which served as the race's starting point. It was obvious that members of the Wagarashi and Wasabi clans were present as well. While Idate did some warm-up stretches, Naruto, Sakura, and Hinata stood by. They could also see the runner representing the Wagarashi clan, but there were no ninja near him, which perplexed them. "So, Sakura-chan, how exactly is this race run?" Naruto inquired after checking his equipment in his ninja pouch. Sakura took out a map and started explaining to him, "Naruto-kun, this is a point-to-point race. The runners begin in Degarashi's Habor and travel by boat to the Midoriki Shrine, which serves as the halfway point. After retrieving the Ryuko jewels from the Madoroki, the runners proceed to the Great Todoroki Shrine, with the first to arrive winning the race. So those are just the fundamental rules, right?" Hinata inquired. "Aside from that, anything goes, including shortcuts and dirty tricks. That is why hiring ninjas does not violate the rules. The fact that we don't see the hired ninja of the Wagarashi clan here must mean that they're hiding somewhere, so we must be careful because we don't know their possible rank," Naruto said, with the girls nodding in agreement. "I don't care what you do as long as you stay out of my way," Idate scowled. "Fine. That if you get yourself into trouble, we will come to your aid whether you like it or not," Naruto retorted. "Naruto-kun, please calm down," Hinata said. "Alright, Hinata-chan." The announcer then spoke loudly over the loudspeaker. "Attention. The Great Todoroki Shrine race is about to begin, with Idate Morino representing the Wasabi clan and Fukusuke Igyakuya representing the Wagarashi clan." When Naruto and the others learned Idate's last name, they were taken aback. "Morino? Isn't that Ibiki's last name?" Karami, who was equally surprised, said. "He could be related to him," Shinami speculated. "We'll ask him after the race." "There's no need to distract him now," Naruto reasoned. "Runners, take your places," announced the announcer. As the gates opened and everyone could see the sun rising from the horizon and the boats ready to sail, Idate and Fukusuke took running positions. Naruto and the girls prepared to trail them once they took off. "Go." The runners took off immediately for the boats, but Idate did something that surprised everyone who was watching. He actually changed course and ran away from the dock to the left. What is that guy up to? He's going in the wrong direction. Naruto screamed angrily. Naru-kun, go after him, exclaimed Kurama. Naruto pursued Idate, followed by Hinata and Sakura, who were perplexed as to why he was running in the opposite direction. What the hell are you thinking, Idate? Turn around and get back in the race, Naruto yelled angrily. The blonde ninja and his team chased after their errant escort, who is currently running through the trees to who knows where. There's no way I'm turning around, so forget about it, Idate yelled back, picking up the pace with the others chasing him. Why do you think he's taking this path instead of the original? Hinata inquired. Perhaps he has something planned. Remember that aside from the basic rules, anything goes, so it could be that he thought to take a different route, Sakura pondered. Even so, we need to keep him in sight, and I'm going ahead to do just that. Naruto channeled chakra to his feet and increased his speed to chase him down until he was right behind him. If this is part of your plan, then where are you going? It's none of your concern where I'm going, so just stay out of my way, exclaimed Idate. How am I going to get it into your head that it's my mission to both escort and protect you? Suddenly, Naruto noticed something strange was going on. There was a certain tree that he was certain he had seen before in the previous 5 minutes, and apparently Idate had noticed as well. I know I passed this place before, this must be some kind of genjutsu, Idate said as he did the ram hand sign and the release technique. Could you help me out here, Ku-chan? Naruto wondered. Sure thing, Naru-kun. Kurama pulsed her chakra through his body, and his perspective changed to reveal him standing along the ledge of a cliff wall that bordered the sea. Thank you, Ku-chan. Naruto looked to see if Idate was approaching a bend and not slowing down before turning. Could it be that? His thoughts were confirmed when Idate ran right off the edge. Damn it. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto dashed forward and leapt off the cliff just as his clones appeared and grabbed each other's legs before his to form a makeshift rope before grabbing Idate by the scruff of his shirt. Then the clones pulled them back up to the cliff before disappearing in puffs of smoke. What just happened? I know I performed the seal to dispel genjutsu, so why didn't it work? Said Idate, finally calming down. My Byakugan saw a secondary layer of chakra above the first, so it must have been a double-layered genjutsu and that you only dispelled the first layer. Sakura and Hinata, who had her Byakugan active, caught up to them. Then your chakra pulse must have dispelled them all at once, thanks Ku-chan, Naruto smiled. Anything for my Naru-kun, Kurama cheerfully replied. If you're going this way, it must mean you know a faster route, Sakura reasoned. That's right, at this time of year, there are strong seasonal winds blowing hard across the sea. Back at the starting line, I noticed that through the clouds, the winds were blowing towards us, and there is a port to the north where the current flows directly into Nagi Island, Idate confirmed. Which also means that your opponent would be severely hampered by the weather, giving you a significant lead in the race. However, falling into a genjutsu must mean that the hired ninja is onto us, so it's best that you stay near us, okay? Said Naruto. HMPH, do whatever you want, snorted Idate. The group continued on their journey, led by Idate, until they reached the end of a shore where there is a much smaller port. Idate went to a nearby shack and knocked on the door, which opened to reveal an old man who smiled and seemed to recognize the boy. Ah, Idate, so you're here, the old man said. Yes, the weather was exactly as I predicted, so I'm hoping you'll lend me your boat, Idate explained. Of course, I've prepared it for you. Jirocho-san has done a lot for me over the years, so all you have to do is win the race and beat the Wagarashi clan. Of course, she says. Soon after, the group set sail for the island, with Naruto and the girls ensuring that the ropes, among other things, were secure enough for the boat to sail properly. Sakura and Hinata approached Naruto, who was steering the rudder in order to keep the boat on course. Naruto-kun, don't you think there's something strange about Idate? The kind of training he must have gone through to move at such speed reminds me of Lee-san when he took off his weights in his fight against Gaia-chan, Sakura said. I also noticed with my Byakugan that he has more chakra than anyone else in the Wasabi clan, and his chakra coils are well developed, Hinata explained. Not only that, but he has the same surname as Ibiki Morino, Naruto added. What did you just say? They all exclaimed, turning to Idate, who looked at them in surprise. What did you say the name was? We said his name is Ibiki Morino. Do you know him? Sakura inquired. That's my big brother's name, but I thought he was dead. Well, he isn't. We met him as the proctor of the first stage of the Chunin exam, Naruto explained. This certainly proves that he came from the Hidden Leaf, but why is he here? Kurama wondered. An arrow struck the boat's floorboard before Naruto could respond. Everyone was on high alert as Naruto drew Mumi no Tamanu, Sakura drew a kunai, and Hinata activated her Byakugan. A hail of arrows descended from the sky, but Naruto was prepared, sheathing Mumi no Tamanu before leaping into the air and adopting a mid-air EI stance. Mysterious arts. Quick draw. Then he quickly drew it out to unleash several high-speed slashes around him, dispatching all of the arrows before returning to the ship. There's a boat following us, exclaimed Hinata. Naruto turned to see that it was a boat chasing them, and on board were a trio of ninja dressed similarly in white jumpsuits and respirators, with headbands indicating that they were from the Rain Village. He noticed that one of them looked awfully familiar. I recognize one of them from the second stage of the Chunin exam. He tried to attack me to get the scroll, but it didn't go well for him, and Tora had found a training dummy in him, Naruto explained. The Rain Ninjas then fired 2 arrows with long ropes attached to them, which embedded themselves into the ship's side and mast, slowing it down and drawing closer to them. I need you to stay behind and protect Idate while Hina-chan and I deal with these jerks, Sakura-chan. Alright, Naruto-kun, Sakura said as she stood near Idate, ready to defend against any kind of attack. Naruto dashed to the ship's side and slashed the ropes with the Muramasa blade before turning around and throwing a handful of shuriken at the mast ropes to cut them as well. Naruto-sama, don't let your guard down. It appears that they've boarded the ship, Shinami said. Several Rain Ninja clones appeared on the ship, phasing through the floorboards and mast like ghosts. Naruto-kun, these clones are different from the clones you use, and some of them aren't clones at all. Hinata exclaimed as she activated her Byakugan. Alright, then, let's take them down in order to flush out the real ones, Naruto said as he dashed towards one of the clones and slashed it to make it disappear before moving on to the next. Hinata was striking the attacking clone's faux chakra points with the Juken and disrupting them with her chakra enough to make them vanish in puffs of smoke. When a Rain Ninja approached from behind, she swiveled around and parried the kunai with a bent elbow before straightening it to strike at the head before performing a double fist to take it down. Hinata took a step back to take the Juken stance, but in the praying mantis style. Naruto decided to teach it to her during training because it could use the same mechanics as the Juken and it proved to be just as effective, but only Hiyashi, Hanabi, and Neji knew about it because the elders of the main Hyuga family would raise a fuss about tradition. Secret Arts, Hell Spinner. Naruto exclaimed as he spun around like a top, slashing the clones to bits. That sword brat is really getting on my nerves, Kagari, I need you to switch to Plan B, the Rain Ninja in command said. You got it, the second Rain Ninja said with a series of hand signs and a dark aura emanating from his body, water style, Black Rain Jutsu. Suddenly, black droplets of water began to fall on the ship, much to the consternation of the others. Naruto slashed away a clone before inspecting the droplets on his hand, which he raised to his face and sniffed. This smells like oil. Could they be attempting Naruto heard a twang and looked up to see a flaming arrow heading straight for them. The arrow had already struck the boat, igniting it before he could intercept it. "Can't you use your water jutsus to put out the fire, Naruto-kun?" exclaimed Sakura. "It's too late for that. The sail has been completely burned. We need to abandon the ship, so get Idate out of here," Naruto said, kicking a rain clone away from him. "Why should I trust you ninjas? For all I know, you could be using me as a decoy in your escape attempt," Idate exclaimed fearfully. "We wouldn't do that, Idate-san. Our mission is to protect you, so you must flee while we draw their attention," Sakura said, but the boy was skeptical. "Damn it, man. Get out of here or you're going to get yourself killed," Naruto yelled angrily. Those words were clearly heard by Idate, who nodded hesitantly before diving into the sea and swimming towards the port at Nagi Island. Back on the sinking ship, Naruto and the girls had finally defeated the attacking clones. "The ship is completely totaled, we need to get off now." But first, Naruto dashed to the bow of the boat and launched himself into the air. A red rune with Sita characters surrounded him and flames appeared on his hands. "Here's payback for torching our ride. Ninpo. Art of the Inferno." Then he put them together and thrust forwards as he shot a giant fireball towards the Rain Ninja's boat, resulting in an explosion with it being completely destroyed. Naruto landed on the water's surface and turned around to see Sakura and Hinata standing nearby before sprinting over to them. "Let's hurry over to Idate before anything else happens," Naruto said, and the girls nodded in agreement. He bit his thumb hard enough to draw blood before performing some hand signs and slamming his right palm on the water's surface, causing a puff of smoke to appear before it faded to a creature in its place. It's a big blue sea lizard with long pectoral fins and small pelvic fins. It wears a long deep blue sleek helmet and its first dorsal fin resembles the tip of a blade. "Hello Naruto-san, nice to see you again," the sea creature said. "You, too, Tylemon," Naruto replied, smiling. "Who is this, Naruto-kun?" Hinata inquired. "I'd like to introduce you to Tylemon, also known as the jet plane of the deep seas by his fellow Digimon." "It's a pleasure to meet you all," Tylemon said, to which the girls replied, "How may I assist you, Naruto-san?" "We could use a ride to Nagi Island. We need to see our client, whom we've been assigned to protect." "Alright, climb on and I'll take you there," Tylemon said. The trio was about to do so when they heard a splash and turned to see, much to their chagrin, that the Rain Ninjas had returned. "Nobody is leaving. You Konoha brats are going to pay for what you did to us at the Chunin exams," yelled one of the Rain Ninjas angrily before performing a series of hand signs to summon a large group of water clones behind them. "We don't have time for this. We're in a hurry. Tylemon, could you assist us?" Naruto asked. "Of course, Naruto-san, Terror Plankton." Tylemon opened her mouth and shot a powerful stream of water at the Rain Ninjas, sending them flying and dispersing their water clones. "It's pointless to resist. My attack contains poisonous plankton that is quite lethal to those unfortunate enough to be the target." Now to put you out of your misery, Tylemon swam forwards at high speed, tilt anchor. She lashed with her tail to send them flying back, and to end it, torpedo attack. She opened her mouth again to fire 3 metallic underwater projectiles that rushed towards their targets and extinguished. "Strong as always, Tylemon," Naruto said. "Thank you, Naruto-san, but let us hurry and get you to the island." Tylemon turned and made his way to Nagi Island, much to the surprise of the girls. Meanwhile, Idate had arrived at Nagi Island's shores, but he ran into someone he was all too familiar with, and not the happy kind. "I never thought I'd see you again." "Aoi Rokusho!" exclaimed Idate. The green-haired man was dressed in a gray sleeveless jumpsuit with a navy blue line down the center, as well as an umbrella and the hidden rain forehead protector. He smirked as he watched the boy struggle to get back to his feet. "I was expecting you to flee." "It wouldn't be the first time," Aoi said. "Shut up. It was all because of you. Don't bother trying to justify yourself. After all, you abandoned your village and betrayed your brother. It was all your fault, and people like you don't deserve to live." Aoi threw his umbrella into the air and drew out a handful of senbon needles, which he then threw at Idate, striking various parts of his body and causing him to scream in pain. As the weather changed and it began to rain on the island, Idate attempted to get up but his body felt numb for some reason. "What's going on with my body?" Idate wondered. "If you want to know before you die, my senbon is coated with paralyzing poison that will shut down parts of your nervous system. As of now, your running days are over, and the only finishing line you'll be crossing is death," Aoi said as he kicked a helpless Idate on the ground. "Boss. I'm so sorry. I gave you my word that you could rely on me. And now I've failed you." Idate's vision darkened and he noticed Aoi smirking evilly at him. But before he went completely unconscious. Heat wave from the sun. He saw a wave of yellow energy that pushed Aoi backwards, and someone stood close to him with familiar blonde hair. Naruto? Naruto had appeared in front of Idate, holding a lance with a draconic design. Hinata had informed them of what she saw with her Byakugan, prompting Naruto to summon the Sunlight Heart to assist him in getting ahead of the others. "That's far enough, bub," Naruto said, pointing the lance at his new foe. "It appears that my minions were not up to the task of acting as distractions against you leaf ninjas," Aoi said. "It just goes to show how difficult it is to find good help these days. Well, they're genin, so it's pretty obvious, and genin, you can't possibly beat me. Then allow me to provide you with an update." Naruto charged at Aoi with the lance and launched a barrage of thrusts, while the rain ninja closed his umbrella and deflected the incoming attacks. Naruto performed a one-handed slash that was avoided, but he kept up the pressure with a jumping roundhouse kick that hit Aoi's chest, much to his chagrin. "Sunlight Slasher!" Naruto yelled as he dashed forward, but Aoi saw it coming and dashed backwards, the lance several meters apart. "Unlike the others, your lance lacks reach. Did you really choose it just for its looks?" Aoi mocked. "There's more to something than your first glance Umbrella Man, for example. Extend Sunlight Heart." The lance immediately opened up while emitting yellow energy, the tip jabbing into Aoi's chest hard enough to draw blood. "You little ninja art. Senbon Shower." Aoi tossed his umbrella into the air, which spun quickly and needles shot out at Naruto and Idate. "I don't think so. Wind Style. Typhoon Dance." Naruto tossed Sunlight Heart into the air and sped through a series of hand signs before spinning like a top as the wind swirled around him, deflecting the needles to the ground before stopping to raise a hand towards the sky and catch the descending lance. "It's my turn now, Sunlight Heat Wave, full blast." Aoi scrambled out of the way to avoid the attack, watching in disbelief as the wave of energy continued on, leaving a long trench in its wake. "What the hell are you, brat? No mere genin should have that kind of power," exclaimed Aoi. "That's the thing, I'm a chunin, not a genin, so it's your fault for underestimating me," Naruto said smugly. "Damn you, there's no need for me to be here with Idate poisoned, but next time things will be different." Aoi threw a smoke pellet to the ground and fled. Naruto wanted to pursue the rain ninja but he heard someone call his name. "Naruto-kun." He turned to see Hinata and Sakura riding Tylemon towards him. "Hinata-chan, Sakura-chan, I need your help with Idate. He was attacked by another rain ninja and got hit by senbon possibly coated with poison." "Alright, but we need to get him out of the rain and somewhere warm before we can treat his wounds and cleanse him of the poison," Sakura said. After Tylemon returned to her realm, Naruto and a shadow clone carried Idate to a small cave that they had discovered, and the girls proceeded to apply first aid to the wounds. It turned out that Tsunade had given them a bottle of antidote that cures a variety of poison, which they gave to Idate to swallow. Hinata was examining Idate with her Byakugan before deactivating her Kekkei Genkai. The poison has been removed, but his legs are seriously injured. It would hurt to walk, let alone run, Hinata said. And Lady Tsunade hasn't yet taught us any medical ninjutsu, Sakura expressed concern. Naruto was deep in thought before snapping his fingers when he had an idea. Hang on. I know someone who can heal just as effectively as Granny Tsunade. He bit his thumb again and performed a set of hand signs before slamming his palm on the ground. There was a puff of smoke before fading to reveal a small pink bipedal rabbit. His fur is completely pink, and he wears a pair of headphones, a pink scarf, and a pair of red boots. When he saw Naruto, he tackled the blonde to the ground while smiling happily. Naruto. Q, I missed you, explained the rabbit. Naruto? Who is this little darling? Asked Sakura, who was visibly shaking as she fought the urge to squeal loudly and snatch the pink rabbit from Naruto's arms and cuddle it. She wasn't the only one. Hinata was also fixated on it because she has a thing for rabbits. This is Cuteman. He was among the first Digimon to meet me after I signed their summoning scroll. Nice to meet you, Q, said Cuteman, waving. When this mission is done, I'll have Naruto summon this cute bunny so I can cuddle it, the girls joked, sending shivers up Naruto and Cuteman's spines. Anyway, Cuteman, I need your help to heal this guy's injuries, Naruto said, pointing to Idate, who was lying on the ground. Okay Naruto, just leave it to me Q. Cuteman went over to Idate and held his hands over the wounds, healing glow. A green aura emitted from his hands and the girls watched in fascination as the wounds quickly healed. Thanks for the help Cuteman, I'll see you later and say hi to Doralumon for me okay? Naruto said with a smile. Okay, Naruto, see you later, Q. Cuteman waved before disappearing in a puff of smoke, much to the dismay of Hinata and Sakura, and Idate began to stir before fully awakening, looking around in confusion. I can see that you're finally awake, how are you feeling? Inquired Naruto. Where has he gone? What happened to Aoi, and why is my body not hurting? I recall being injured and poisoned, Idate explained. Naruto-kun arrived just in time to drive that rain ninja away, then we gave an antidote and Naruto had one of his summons heal your injuries, Hinata explained. May I inquire as to who this Aoi individual is? It appears you knew him before, Sakura said. He used to be my sensei back when I was still in Konoha, Idate said, hesitantly. That confirms our theory that he was a Konoha ninja because he knows so much about the village, Kurama said. But after he betrayed the village, he became a Junin of the Hidden Rain village, Idate grumbled. How did it occur? I have a feeling his betrayal played a role in why you left the village, Naruto said. You're correct about that. It all started when I failed the first stage of the Chunin exam, which really disappointed me. That's when Aoi appeared and told me that there was another way to become a Chunin. Naruto blanched as he remembered failing the graduation exam for the third time and being duped by Mizuki into stealing the Forbidden Scroll. Later that night, I arrived with the required items, which was the Raijin once wielded by the Nidem and the scroll. It was there that Aoi revealed that it was a lie, and since I stole the sacred treasures of the Hidden Leaf, I had no other choice but to exile myself in fear of being arrested. Later, I met Boss Jirocho, who took me in and treated me like someone he could rely on, and now I've let him down. When I try to do something nice for someone, nothing seems to go right. This is not the time to put yourself down. You still have the opportunity to prove yourself, yelled Naruto. How, though? How am I supposed to win with Aoi around when he has the potential to kill me? That's why we're here to protect you while you run the race. We'll make sure you never suffer any harm again. You can count on us to have your back just like Jirocho-san does. You only have one shot at this, so don't give up just yet," Naruto said, and the girls nodded in agreement. Idate remembered when he first met Jirocho and then the old man who was willing to lend him the boat because they had put a lot of faith in him, and then he looked up to see Naruto standing before him with a hand extended. "You're right. I only have one chance, and I'm not going to waste it." He grabbed Naruto's hand and was dragged to his feet. "That's right, as my crazy sensei always says, it's not over until the fat opera lady sings," said Naruto, much to the bewilderment of the others. "Alright, let's go." Idate bolted from the cave, Naruto and the girls closed behind. "Don't worry, boss, I'll show you that your faith in me was not misplaced." Meanwhile, at the Madaraoki shrine, Jirocho stood at the temple's entrance, scanning the path for the appearance of Idate. "Boss, I just got word that Idate is on his way here with the leaf ninjas you hired," one of the men said. "You were correct, he didn't run away from the start of the race," the other said. "Of course I was, I knew he had it in him all the time, and the leaf ninjas are there to support him," Jirocho said. "You're nearly there."
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.